Hey, my name is Rob Roderick, and I'm with the National Tile Contractors Association. I'm actually a technical trainer, and I travel all over the country doing educational programs and workshops, and we talk about industry standards. And with me, I have our Spanish-speaking trainer, Luis Batista. We're so lucky to have him. There's a large segment of our workforce that's their primary language, so we're glad to have Luis, and he could do our training for us. I also have Dan Hecox. He's our Nebraska State Ambassador. He's going to help us a little bit today, and our conversation, or what we're going to talk about, is exterior installations, and particularly we're going to talk about exterior decks and balconies. I've got some PowerPoint stuff here I want you to look at. As we travel around the country, one thing that we always train about is industry standards, and this is where we find them. If you're going to do correct installations, we encourage everyone to follow the guidelines set in these books. Of course, on the one side we have the Tile Council of North America Handbook, and on the other side we have the American National Standards. One of the things that it says about exterior applications, and this comes right out of ANSI, all installations require periodic inspection and maintenance, but it says, if you look closely, it says especially exterior installations. You know, where we see problems is when people use interior methods, interior products on an exterior installation, and that doesn't work too good. The demands of an exterior installation are a lot more than an interior installation. This is one of the sections from actually a method in the TCA handbook. If you're not familiar with the handbook, they've got particular methods on how to do installation, and there's a limitation section to each of them. You'll see this in all the exterior ones. It says where installations are subject to freeze thaw, they can degrade over time. So it's a different issue than we have with interiors. And this is kind of gives you an idea of the freeze thaw cycle. And when I'm talking about the freeze thaw cycle, I'm basically talking about when water comes in the daytime, and of course a water molecule, when it's in the form of water, is one size. But at night, as it cools down and it freezes, that's exactly right, it expands. So that moisture can get inside of our installation, it can soak in, and when it does and it freezes, it opens up areas. It continues to do that over and over and over again, very demanding to an exterior installation. Here's a couple of exterior deck installations. The things I want to talk to about them is the weight of them and kind of how they're done. They're all mud floated, at least these two that I'm going to show you. So there's a considerable amount of weight. One of the installation methods is about 21 pounds per square foot, and that doesn't count the framing and stuff. So you have to think about, is this installation rated for that type of weight? The other one is 31 pounds, and there's a drainage layer. They're kind of complicated. They work well, but like I said, with an exterior installation, you always want to make sure that we maintain or manage our customers' expectations, because these installations are a little bit different. They're not going to perform like an interior installation. So here's actually, one of the methods in the book in place. We've got a drainage layer, we got a primary waterproofing, and you can see that mud bed. And we're finding as we go around the country, floating mud is a skill that a lot of guys, don't have nowadays. And so some of these methods don't work real good because the guys aren't trained on floating mud. So there's also some other technologies that are out there, and we're going to talk about them a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and switch to the camera if you would. How many of you guys have seen these pedestal systems for decks? All right, one beautiful one right there. Dan, if you would, take one of these pedestals down, or actually take both of the two types that we have there and have the audience kind of handle those. These pedestal systems are pretty unique. Now, they're not in the handbook yet, so whenever we're doing anything that isn't in our handbook or our industry standards, we always want you to follow the manufacturer's instructions. There's basically 4 components to one of these pedestals. We got our top pedestal part, we've got a locking clamp right here, and then we got a threaded portion. And you can see they're made out of plastic. You can cut them. We just cut this with a circular saw once it was braced. This would be a pedestal that we could put against the edge of a wall. That way it could fit in. We want to have our primary waterproofing in place before we put these in. Usually it'll be a rubber type roof, and we want to have the appropriate slope, a 1/4 inch per foot slope. That's going to allow the water to come through this system and drain off. So you can see here, let's move that piece of metal if you don't mind, Dan. Let's check our slope real quick and see how we're running here. a 1/4 inch per foot slope. We got a 6 foot level. We're gonna need 1.5 inches of slope to meet that 1/4 inch per foot slope requirement. So you always want to check that before you get started. It looks good. All right. So basically we can set the height of these pedestals to make sure that our deck is actually level. Now all 3 of the exterior deck methods that we see in the handbook require the tile to be sloped 1/4 inch per foot. So with a system like this, we can actually have that slope underneath the tile. You know, if you have your patio furniture and you got your iced tea and you're sitting there on a slope, that's kind of difficult. But with a system like this, of course, you can have everything level. They also come with different profiles. If you don't mind, show them that, Dan. We got 2 different profiles. And that's going to cover this edge here, so you don't actually see those pedestals. As these are going around, you can see on the pedestals, there's actually places that kind of serve as spacers for your installation. And these little spacers can actually be broken off. For instance, on the one on the corner that they're setting now, that particular pedestal does not have any of these spacers on it. The one in the center has 4 spacers, and the one on the sides have 2 spacers to lock everything in place. One of these pedestals is rated for 1,700 pounds worth of weight. It also can pivot at a 5-degree angle, and that's where we can get this level surface and not have that slope surface like we do with most tile installations. Now the requirements for this is to have heavy-duty material, 2 centimeter thick material. You can see how thick this is. It's about 3/4 of an inch thick. Very, very heavy stuff. With this particular metal on the side, we've got some dovetails that we can actually install trim pieces, but an important part of that, when we install that trim piece, we don't want to install it too tightly to the floor because that can actually entrap water. We want the water to be able to flow out from underneath of there. Dan, show them our mitered edges we've got there. Yeah, right here. See these pieces you basically would install with thin set, and they would stick to this profile edge. And we wouldn't want to cut it too tightly, like I said, because once that water flows through these grout joints, hits that primary waterproofing, we want it to run out and get out of the assembly. If we capture it in there, we have that same problem of that freeze thaw with the expansion and contraction, which can create issues. Now we got a couple of tools. Luis has one there. These tools, you can do some minor adjustments and raise stuff up a little bit. I'm gonna have Dan step on that thing. Once you walk on it, show the audience once you guys get it to where you think it is. Luis says, wait just a minute. He's tightening it up a little bit. So you got that lock. Once you put the locking ring down, basically the way this particular one works, once you get your height set, this threaded portion, you can take this locking ring down and you can lock it in place. And that way you don't have to worry about any adjustment. You can see we got Dan on top of it there. 1,700 pound rating for each one of these pedestals. They're super heavy duty. It's some good technology, and you know, like I said, it's not in our standards yet, so we always want you to follow the manufacturer's instructions whenever you're doing anything. Well, actually, every time we want you to, but especially when you're not supported by our handbook and our ANSI standards. Check it out and see how we're doing. We may have to do some minor adjustment. Looks pretty good from here. All right, if we could, let's go back to that PowerPoint real quick. How many members of the National Tile Contractors Association do we have here? All right. Guys, I want to talk to you briefly about some of the great benefits of being an NTCA member. All right, number one, have you guys seen Tile Letter magazine? If you become a member, you've seen it, you've been in it. He's been in it. We've got a celebrity in the audience. Okay, so Tile Letter magazine will come to you each month if you decide to sign up, but a lot of other great benefits. That TCA handbook that I showed you earlier, and I talked about how important it was to follow those guidelines, we're going to send you one of those. We're going to send you our NTCA reference manual. It's a wealth of knowledge, and it's set up in a problem, cause, cure format. So if you have an issue and you're trying to figure out what the issue is, it can really help you out. Now this says $1,800 in vouchers. That's actually changed, guys. we got a voucher program, and the way this program works is if you decide to become a member, it costs $500 at one of these shows. Normally it's $600. Once you sign up, we've got great support by all of these manufacturers, and here's what they're going to do for you. They're going to give you $2,000 worth of product. That means tile, mortar, tools, concrete board. It's a wonderful program. Basically, you get to select those vouchers out of $6,500, a pool of $6,500 worth of vouchers. But number one reason that I was a member was technical support. You know, you can call us with a question, and we're in a business, guys, where one step can really cost you a lot of money, or one misstep can cost you a lot of money. Oftentimes when I'm on the workshop, I've got a 2010 handbook, and I show my audience, this is a 2010 TCA handbook. It's about 1/4 of an inch thick. And you guys, have you seen the 2017 handbook? It's about 1.5 inches thick. So a lot of things have changed. We're going to protect you and help you stay current. We're here to help you and help your business grow. It's a great association. Also, you can use our logo in your business if you decide to become a member. If any of you are interested, talk to me afterwards. I'd be glad to sign you up. Also, we have an online university, NTCA University. It's a terrific program that we offer to our members. We have an apprenticeship program, a 2-year program, and business training as well. How many of you have heard of the Ceramic Tile Education Foundation? Raise your hand. All right. How many CTIs do we have in the audience? All right. Yeah, you're a CTI, Luis. All right. The Ceramic Tile Education Foundation, they're in the business of certifying installers. This is a third-party evaluation of your skills, okay? You can see in the picture here, a guy's taking this test. There's basically 2 components to it. There's a written portion and a hands-on portion, and he's taking the hands-on portion. What are the benefits of being certified? I've actually gotten work from being certified. We'd have people that came to our city and they didn't know anybody, and they'd look on the Ceramic Tile Education Foundation website. They saw my name, they called me, and we ended up doing business together. Another great benefit is your name. Well, like I said, when they look on the website, they'll see your name. Also, the manufacturers, the same way that they support you to be an NTCA member, they will support you to take this test. It costs $500 to take this test, $495. But if you take this test and you pass, you will get $1,500 worth of vouchers again, or coupons, they call them in this case. And again, that's for materials, mortar, tile, tools. So the industry wants you to be successful. They want you to be members of the NTCA, and they want you to be certified. If any of you guys have questions about that, feel free to come to me. We have a regional evaluator here. Dan Heacock's a regional evaluator here. Luis, we'd be glad to talk to you guys about it. It's a great association. Guys, that's all I have for you. What? Luis has something for you.
If you find yourself doing a system like this, don't put any silicone in the bottom.
Yes, sir.
Because that's needed for drainage.
Exactly right.
So don't forget that.
Yeah, very important.
Also, it is not necessary to be on a flat area. It can be like this because this moves.
5 degrees.
Yeah, so it helps.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that we want to show you is, and we don't want to take that out, but this profile that we have here is made.
We have a different profile here.
Give me that piece of tile. This piece of tile right here.
Yeah, you could set that on top of there, actually.
So you put your mortar into this piece, then you put that one there, and then it goes underneath, like that.
Mm-hmm. Has some dovetailing in it.
So
it gets a mechanical lock that way. The mortar gets a mechanical lock into those dovetails. Anything else?
That's it.
Dan, do you have anything?
Nope.
Guys, thank you so much. Question?
How big of a gap do you need on that bottom to keep the water draining out?
You know, I always say, go to the manufacturer. Ask them, you know, what you would expect.
But yesterday
there's no standards for this at this moment. That's one thing I hope everybody walks away with, that we don't have any TCA standard or ANSI standard, so we depend on the manufacturer for that gap.
We asked yesterday to the manufacturer of this one here, and he said 1/4 of an inch. That's plenty.
1/4 of an inch? He did say that?
Underneath over here.
Okay.
That's what you're talking about, right?
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Should have asked Luis had the answer to that. So,
yeah.
Thank you, buddy. Any other questions, sir? Okay. Guys, also, thank you. Appreciate you.
Also, they make this from 1/4 of an inch to 19 inches high.
Yeah, oh, extensions. They have extensions for them that'll go 19 inches high. And one of the manufacturers said that they can go to 0. Now keep in mind that this particular material is 3/4 of an inch thick. So 0 is actually 3/4 of an inch. So they can take it, if your doorway or threshold off that balcony is 3/4 of an inch, that would be the minimum that you could have. Guys, thanks again, appreciate you.
Thank you very much.